Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Pattinson, and as always, we are joined by Ethan Duffy. And today, we are previewing Collingwood v Carlton at the MCG, Thursday, 3rd of April, 7:30 p.m, and at the home of footy, the MCG, against the mighty filth Collingwood. Just repeated myself a few times there. But Duff, it's very unfortunate that the top of football that we're playing at the moment, 0-3 to start the season. And now we look to round 4 and we're playing against the Collingwood Football Club. Very, very at crap times at the moment. But you can also look at on the brighter side of it of if we can get the job done this week, this might reignite our season and maybe realise how good we actually could be. But first things first, how are you? And just give me your initial thoughts ahead of this filth of a contest.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. Obviously we got most of the stuff we had out in the review, so I'm trying to look forward in a sense. These clashes just, I don't know. Everyone's looking at it like, why do we have Collingwood? But I feel like it could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. It might force us to actually front up and win a fucking game, Patto. To be honest, it's the first F-bomb of the episode. Hopefully it will be the last. But, it's frustrating. I look at the first 3 games we've had, and I still feel like our last 2 losses have been clouded by the first loss. Yeah. It has been. It 100% has been. If we beat Richmond comfortably and then lost to the Hawks and Dogs, let's be real here. We were probably in winning positions in all 3 games. That's you can't be a terrible, I know it's not acceptable, but a terrible side is not going to be in a winning position, a proper winning position in all 3 of their games this season. North Melbourne will have won a game, but I reckon they've been in a winning position in 1, and there was the one they won. So they won the game, which we haven't at all, but there's something there. There has to be something there, and we both said it at halftime on the weekend. The ball movement was better. We were looking cleaner. It looked like we were actually looking at different ways to move the ball, which we talked about in the weekends before, going, why aren't we going short and short? We were committed to it, weren't we? They were committed to keeping the ball a bit of territory battle in terms of short, choppy kicks, and it ended up working for us. And then when the game was on the line, what happened, Patto? We started, going long, reverting back to I don't know what to call it, but we just reverted back to that. Teams do not change their game, even if their chips are down and the game is on the line. The Dogs just kept playing the same way. They were just kept going. It was consistent. Even though they were losing, they were still playing the same way and ended up winning the same way. See, when it gets close or we go down 2 goals, we just got to change everything. Just got to change how we play. So that's my frustration. Good teams don't do that, and I think this week, it'll be a close game. So I'd love to see us just stick to what we can do. And if we don't win, sticking to what we do, maybe they're just the better side.
Yeah, and that's why I think last week was quite confronting because we lost to the Dogs in a fashion that we probably were quite happy with. I think we played quite well, and I feel like that's like when the game kind of turned. That's when we went away from us playing our best footy.
Yeah,
which there must be a reason for that, and whether that's coaching or whether that's players not willing to take the risk because now there's pressure. I have no idea, but I completely agree what you said about if we beat Richmond. And lost, literally, if we lost to Hawthorn and Dogs in the exact same fashion, we wouldn't be talked about as much as we are. Like maybe to a stretch against the Dogs, we probably would say, oh yeah, they can't manage the games and their pressure moments. But if we beat the Tigers where we were like 41 points up round 1 and went on to win by 60, I don't think we would be talking about it. I don't think there would be much conversation now. And then heading into this week, there would still be a bit of optimism, saying like, all right, yeah, like we're 1-2,
Yeah.
but now that it's 0-3, and what we've gone through with Richmond, and that like
Mm-hmm.
every single game has been game management. Like Hawthorn,
Yeah.
like you literally said it,
Yeah.
Hawthorn, we had the exact same issue where we couldn't manage the lead. Western Bulldogs as well, like
Mm.
not losing the unlosable, but there was very like we were very
Yeah.
much going like favourites to win that game at that point in time when we were
Mm.
leading, and we still find find a different way to lose
Yeah.
the game, and we still allow a mark right on the goal line
Yeah. Gee, that
in
hurt
the
me, that
final
one.
minutes. It's just small stuff like that that I just like.
Mm.
We kind of
Mm.
go back to the local footy, and I know that we kind of both do that. But
Mm.
if we were playing local footy and we were doing that, my good golly, the coach would be
Yeah.
fuming at that,
Yeah.
saying like,
Yeah.
where is our like where is our so called quarterback?
Mm.
It's just small things like that I just I don't I would love. We've been saying for years I would love to be a fly in the four walls of the club and just
Yep.
hear what they are like heading into this week, what they're actually speaking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because small things like that, I think it has to be one of the main priorities, and have a bit of a quarterback in there
Yeah.
in the side, and just understand and maybe have a mature head like a Jacob Waring. And like I just can't
Mm.
understand how players like that can get over the back, and we do it consistently. It's not like one off.
Yeah.
We do it pretty much 3 or 4 times every game, which is a big worry. But Duff, let's move on to the injury list, and there is some positive news regarding Harry Mackay and Elijah Hollins. I'll throw to you for the injury list, but also a few other names there. But what's on the injury list and the injury update?
Yeah. So first of all, probably the injury from the weekend. I'll touch on first with Zach Williams. Gee, well, I'm pretty sure we were all thinking the same thing. Oh no, this could be, season ending or season altering with a big injury. But good signs is it looks like it's not a major thing. It's a pretty minor, more precautionary injury. Obviously, we'll get the update on that tomorrow. He's had scans, so that's official. It's not the Jagger Smith, he's all good to go type. Oh my god, that hurt. But that was the most Carlton thing to happen ever. But yeah, I think Zach Williams will miss this week. But if he's right to go, I think he was solid in the game. When he was on the ground, and it probably hurt us a little bit with a bit of drive and just the way he was playing through the guts in the middle of the ground. So fingers crossed he's okay. But for me, I think he probably takes the week off and looks ahead to gather round. But Corey Durden, obviously available for selection. I think he played in the VFL intra-club match. They were supposed to play against Footscray, but Footscray did not want to play a scratch match in their bye week, which is kind of fair enough. Why would you want to put it on your bodies sometimes, especially the VFL players? You'd rather have just the week off with your bodies. But, of course, we've got a lot of, ones guys rolling through there with, another two names with Harry Mackay and Elijah Hollins playing in that game. I was thinking about it yesterday. Imagine like being a VFL player, like a Carlton VFL player, and you're playing in defence, and you got to play on Harry. And I'm sure it would have been, I don't know who it would have been, probably like a Harry O'Farrell or something like that. Would have been a tough task, but that's a good sign. That's a good sign if he's playing. Let's fingers crossed he's going okay. And fingers crossed Elijah's going okay. But I think out of those two, I think Harry will be available for selection against the Pies. Elijah, I'd imagine he'd be close. If he's playing in games like that, that's a good sign. I wouldn't mind him coming back against the Eagles or something. I know we're talking about week by week. That's our motto this year. But I wouldn't mind him coming into I'm not going to say easy game because there's no easy games, but a game like that where he just eases him in, play him half forward, get him a few touches, and then hopefully he builds on that for the next, for the rest of the season. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a good sign. Obviously, Pitto's still recovering. I think he's still 2 to 3 weeks away. I'm very paranoid with what's going to happen there. I am incredibly worried. I am incredibly worried what they're going to do when Pitto is available, because I would bet your bottom dollar if he was available for the first part of this season, he would have been playing.
100%.
And what's your thoughts on that? Because it just worries me what they're going to do. Like, surely they just see it and go, he's the backup now. Or unless we've got a forward down and you put TDK forward, which I'm fine with for a game or so. Like it's just frustrating, man.
Well, so the last time that the injury list has been updated, and I think it gets updated again tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, but
Yeah.
March 25th, 5th, which was last Tuesday,
Mm.
that was obviously the last time that they've updated it, and my opinion, was still 2 to 3 weeks away. So now it probably
Yeah.
turns to 1 to 2.
Mm.
And I mean, they probably would look to potentially bring Pitto in to maybe manage him against a team like West Coast.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't know why it is so hard
Mm.
to realize that Tom DeConning is our sole ruckman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why it is so hard to realize
Mm.
that. And we don't know that, like Michael Voss probably knows that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he like in training, it might actually
Mm.
be down to TDK saying, look, I would rather have Pitto there to kind of
Yeah.
manage the ruck minutes because I don't think I can play sole ruck for a full game.
Mm.
Well, Tom, you've done it for 3 games and you've probably been best on ground for all 3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We need
I
you in there.
yeah, I think I think it's now time
Yep.
to. I mean, Pitto, we'd love you. If
Mm.
Tom is injured, of
Yeah.
course he would come straight back in. We're so lucky that we have a ruckman like that who is available as a second ruck,
Mm.
but not second ruck as in playing in the team. No, second ruck as
Mm.
in a backup ruck in the VFL to get yourself ready for potentially when Tom DeConning does go out of the side, or even when there is a contest when you simply have to play the 2 rucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when Pitto comes in. But
Yeah.
I, if I see a ruck contest where it's Tom DeConning in the ruck and Mark Pitnet as a full forward, I don't know what more we can say.
Mm.
To one say Tom DeConning should be the full forward out of 2 of them,
Yeah.
but Pitto should not be anywhere near that forward line.
Yeah.
And
No.
maybe we look at the midfield and say, well, Pitto, like the
Mm.
midfielders do improve with Pitto's impact in
Of
the
course.
setting. So maybe it is that.
It's just my worry is like the liability around the ground and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like
Yeah.
he has improved that part of his game, I think, Pitternet over his time at Carlton. But I guess we just got to accept whatever comes. And TD, let's be real, TDK's not going to play every game this year. Like he might play. There might be games where it's like, okay, we need Pitto in. TDK is just going to play forward. Let's throw something different at a team. Might be, a team with a few key backs or a team that's a little bit smaller. We might go, okay, Tommy, you're playing predominantly forward this time. We're going to go with a 3-headed attack with you, Charlie, and Harry. Just sometimes we saw that in the finals when we were winning finals. TDK was playing forward.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So sometimes it's got to be not just be predictable, but if there's a game where you go, okay, Pitto, you've got your measure against Kieran Briggs or something, right? Right, those two just battle it out. TDK comes in as a second ruck. And then you cause mismatches ahead of the ball. I think that's what we've got to think about as well. When you have it's a good thing to have Tommy DeConning because he has the skill set to be able to play forward as well. But like you said, I would rather him in the guts.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is very obvious that Tom DeConning should be our number 1 ruck.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure what the whole conversation is. And it's been a conversation since this bloody podcast has started.
Yeah.
What is that ruck combination? And I just think right now it is quite clear that Tom DeConning, he's 25, Mark Pitnet's 28. I know he looks a little bit older than that, but 28 is still quite young. So hopefully Pitto would still and he's that type of guy that reward, like he doesn't get down and he doesn't get down in the dumps if he's not playing AFL. He's the type of guy that wants to get the best out of his football because he's probably so he's so happy that he's had this opportunity to play AFL and live out his dream. And if he's playing in the VFL while still being AFL listed, that's fine. And if you're behind one of the best ruckmen in the competition, Tom DeConning, I think there's not really much you can do about that. So hopefully when Pitto does come back, he is potentially playing VFL and still learning his craft while Tom DeConning is in the AFL dominating. But yeah, I'm really, it's a good thing to see about Harry Mackay and Elijah Hollins, those guys playing. Elijah Hollins is one of those guys that we just need to have in the side. He is that guy that can reignite the side.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he kicks a big goal, it's mainly will lift the side.
Yep.
So I would love to see Elijah Hollands play. And Corey Durn's a very interesting one. I feel
Mm.
like he almost could come back in.
Yep.
But after those injury list updates, Daffy Boy, we'll now move on to the ins and outs. And
Yep.
this is interesting. This is quite probably our biggest ins and outs segment of the year, probably. I mean, I know that last week we probably should have made some big calls, but
Yeah.
this week we're up against the Pies and we are purely going off if we were the coaches, these are the changes that we'll make. And I could almost guarantee, I will bet my bloody house deposit that Michael Voss will not pull through with this because these players are too safe. These guys just get not gifted games, but there's no big calls. And I probably wouldn't expect it against Collingwood. And there's not a hell of a lot going wrong. So I probably wouldn't expect it. But if I was doing it, and I'm sure if you were doing it, these are the changes that we would make. So Daff, your ins and outs, including the sub, what changes have you got?
Yeah, so it's again, it's like you said, it's a clash that you feel like, do you want to make too many changes? Do you not? And like you said, there's not much going wrong. It's just that enough going wrong for you to lose games of football.
Yep.
I thought there was a lot of good contributors on the weekend. So, so I'll start off. Harry Mackay in for me. Fingers crossed he's ready to go. Oh, if I hear one Collingwood supporter say something to him about his whatever's going on, it's going to be fucking on, Patto. It is going to be on at the MCG. It is going to be fucking on. They'll be up your ass. Nah, anyway. But yeah, no, we should be, if you do hear any of that stuff on the weekend by, idiots, even our own supporters, the way they've been talking about that whole situation is disgusting.
It is.
Absolutely disgusting. So Harry Mackay in for me. Corey Durden makes his first appearance this year. That's the only reason why is because of a particular out for me. And Jordan Boyd will be in the best 22. I thought he looked pretty solid when he came back on. To be honest, it was funny because our ball movement was great when he was on the bench. And then it seemed to get nothing to do with him, but it seemed like when a better ball user came on the ground, our ball use reverted back to that long bomb stuff. So nothing to do with him, but it was just a bit of a coincidence. But yeah, Boydie. So Mackay, Durden, Boyd out. Zach Williams. I just think maybe he has the week off. He might not. He might be okay and ready to go, which would be great, which would change my ins as well. But Williams out for me. These next two are omissions. And this one might be a big one. People say, oh, but, he's played 150 plus games. He's been through the shit. He's not playing well enough at the moment. And I think it'd actually be good for him to have a couple of weeks out and dominate the twos and come back in with form. I don't think, but what's the issue with that? People have the issue with that. If I was a player knowing I wasn't playing up to my ability, I'd almost accept it and go, okay, let's go to work on these areas, go to the twos, get some form, and then whenever he comes back in, he's ready to go. I don't see the issue in that. So Doherty out for me. And my other omission, he's playing at a level. He's not providing me enough, Patto, at the moment. And it's Matt Cottrell. And I know with Doherty and Cottrell and the ins, it's a bit like, how are we going to shape that? How are we going to roll with that? Obviously, for me, I think Hollands will be on the wing again. I thought he was beaten by Sam Davidson, who absolutely dominated him, in my opinion. But I thought Ollie he does cop hate. I feel like he's a bit of a scapegoat at the moment, but I think we need him in the side. So Cottrell will be out for me, but he will be the sub.
Yeah.
He will be the sub. So he won't be out of the side fully. But yeah, it's going to be. I've kept Lewis Young in. I thought his performance was really good. I think his job was to stop Roy Lobb from taking inset marks, and he did, and he kicked 2 goals on him, including an absolute ripper in the last quarter, which should have probably gone on to win the game from there. Which I was like, what is going on? This is fantasy world right now. Lewis Young's kicking goals from 45 on the boundary, but he stays to the side for me because every week he's done his job, whether it's in defence or forward. So I'm interested to see the whole look of the team With Mackay back in, do you play Lewis Young forward? Do you play him in defence? I'm not too sure. So, yeah, it'll be interesting watch at Thursday. Oh no, Wednesday, 6 p.m.
Mm. Well, I completely agree about Lewis Young and rewarding guys who are doing
Mm.
their job. So
Yep.
that's a bit of a spoiler with mine as well. Lewis Young is 100% in my side,
Mm.
without a doubt. He's doing
Yep.
his job, and this is the stuff from like 2021 where a guy would come in, do his job, but then there's a
Mm.
guy who's coming back from injury, who would just slide straight back into the side, and the guy who's actually doing his job gets
Yep.
dropped. And I
Hmm.
don't know when we're actually going to say, well, hang on, he's actually doing his role and he's actually doing a good job, and we aren't losing by 100 points, we're losing by 8 points.
Yeah.
So there's obviously like Lewis Young can come in and do the exact same role on Darcy Moore,
Mm.
or he can come in and do the
Yeah.
exact same role on, I don't know, like a Mason Cox if he's playing,
Yeah. Yep.
literally do the exact same role. Um, I don't know, but just before I read out my ins and outs, the what I'm looking at in terms of Matt Cottrell being omitted, which I kind of completely agree, and I like how you have him as sub. He's obviously that guy that has that unrewarded running, and he
Mm.
obviously, like
Mm.
Sam Davison on the weekend, was that guy who had that unrewarded running. And when he eventually does get the impact, you can see
Mm.
how impactful, when he gets the opportunity to impact the game, you can see how good he can be. So
Yep.
Cotter's being omitted by the side. Is there a certain player that you can see in the lineup that
Mm.
can be that can do that unrewarded running, like whether it is Ollie Hollands? Because now that you're dropping
Mm.
Doc and Cotters, we kind of do lose that unrewarded running. But Ollie Hollands is a machine, so he probably
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
that player. Is that player?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. And Ollie, obviously, I've got him on the wing. I think you got other guys who have the capability to go high up the ground. And I listened to Brody Kemp. I'm not saying he's a like for like with Doc or Cottrell,
Yeah.
but I listened to Brody Kemp's interview after the game, and he was saying, like the 5 goals and that are great, but I really take pride in my ability to run high up the ground and run out the game. So with Harry and Charlie in the game, and I'm not expecting Kemp to kick five. I'd love
Yeah.
Brady Kemp to kick five, but I wouldn't mind him pushing higher up the ground
Yeah.
and being a bit of a taller. You know what I mean? Being a bit of he's mobile. So that's my thinking. I'm not saying he's replacing Cottrell, but it'll just give us a bit of a different look, I think. And it looked like I haven't dropped Frank Evans, but he was playing a bit higher up the ground at some stages as well. So he's not just the inside 50. And then Corey Durden's got the ability to go high up the ground and be around the packs and be around the stoppages. So I just think it's a bit of a line in the sand for a guy like Doherty and Cottrell. Cottrell's still on the side, so as a sub. But yeah, it's a bit of a different mix with those two out of the side.
Yeah. So the sub, are you playing Cottrell or Doc?
Yeah. Yeah, Cottrell. I think Doherty needs to have a full game playing, don't know where, any position, whether it's halfback or something. I wouldn't mind him on the halfback, but yeah, just go on the twos, work at it, and have a couple of weeks where you have 30.
Yeah. So if you were Michael Voss right now,
Mm.
sending Doc back to the VFL, is a halfback probably where you would play him?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, he's not going to replace a guy like Sard. He's not going to replace a guy like Sard, but he might replace like Cowan's a little bit down at the moment. But I think he's still got the ability to play on a really good small Cowan, which probably keeps him in the side. But yeah, guys like that might be on the fringe if Doherty's playing really well in defence.
Yeah, well, that's why I think like a certain replacement for for Doherty to come in, a replacement for me is Nick Newman.
Yeah. Yes.
Like 2025, he hasn't been like obviously he's not playing in 2025, but I think you've got a guy like Doherty who's somewhat like for like.
Mm.
Bring him in, and that can be that Nick Newman role because I think we're kind of lacking that.
Yeah.
Cowan's great. I think Haynes is a good inclusion. Jordan Boyd will find his way. Ollie Hollands potentially if he plays off the halfback, but I just think you're kind of missing that Nick Newman there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think for me, I completely agree. I think he needs to go back to the VFL, get a bit of confidence in the halfback.
Yeah.
And then you can come in, and whether he plays back on the wing, I don't really care. But at least he has some form because he hasn't had form in 2023.
Years. Yeah.
So, like he needs to have a bit of, and that's why I'm surprised that he kind of didn't start in the VFL for the first few weeks and just manage the minutes. I don't know. But my ins and outs. So I'll start off with the outs. I've got, actually, no, I'll start off with the ins. They're quite clear. But Harry Mackay in and my, which is obviously quite clear. I'm not bringing him through the VFL, Daffy boy. And my next in, it could be interesting, but I'm looking at it at a sense of he's had a few VFL games, and yes, he hasn't performed overly well, but I'm bringing in Ashton Moyer.
Okay.
I really would like him to come into the side. We're missing that Jack Martin type, and I know Elijah Hollins could be that guy, but he's obviously not available. So I think Ashton Moyer could be vital for that forward line, because you've got the two talls in Harry Mackay and Charlie Kerner. You've got that other tall in Brody Camp, and now you've got that mid-size with Ashton Moyer, along with the mosquito fleets of like Evans and a Fogg and a Jesse Motlop. So those are the guys that I really would like to see. Like, I want to see some, like, when it drops to, like, when the ball drops on the ground, I want to see, like, pressure.
Yeah.
Non-stop pressure. And that's why I think with Motlop, Fogg, and especially Ashton Moyer, if he does come in, I think he can apply that pressure in the forward 50. But my outs, so Zach Williams, which is quite clear, if he is injured, but also if he isn't injured, maybe just give him a week or two to make sure that he's right, and then come back against, I don't know, like whether it is next week against West Coast, I'm not too sure. But also he is quite an important player, and we're playing against Collingwood, so maybe we do find a way to play him. My next out, Sam Doherty, completely agree. He needs to be put back to the VFL, find some form, then you can come back in dock. Now, my last out, bit of an interesting one, Daffy boy, and I want your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Mitch McGovern.
Oh,
now,
big.
Mitch McGovern.
Big. That's
so
big.
I don't think we can play all the talls, whether it's Haynes, Wienering, Young, Sauce, McGovern.
Yeah.
And
fair enough.
It was really down to either Young or McGovern. And right now, Mitch McGovern is simply not doing his role. Jack Silvani is playing the Mitch McGovern role better than what Mitch McGovern's playing his role. So Jack Silvani, we have realised now that he is now that second tall, maybe third tall if Haynes is that second tall. And Mitch McGovern is not doing his role. He's not playing up to his standards. And I don't know if you do. I can guarantee this will not happen. I would love to see some sort of a statement. And we're playing against Collingwood. We probably won't see it happen. And if we lose this week, we might see it next week against West Coast. But if I'm heading into this week, I'm rewarding Lewis Young a game in the back line. He goes straight to Mason Cox. Jacob Wearing plays on an mixed day. I think my check is back this week, which is just great. So, so whether that's Haynes on my check, and then probably the rest of them are just smalls.
Tim Membry
is another one.
Yeah, well, he causes issues for us every single time. Like at St Kilda, I reckon his average against us would have been 3+ goals. Yeah, every time. I was speaking to another. Someone brought it up to me at work the other day.
Always done.
We've got Collingwood next week and fucking Membry.
Yeah,
fucking Membry. He literally said, he goes, fucking Membry. That was the first thing he says. So, yeah, like they've got to, like you said, I don't mind it. I do not mind that decision. I don't think it'll happen, like you said.
No.
But I'm not against it. I'm not against it because, like you said, his standards have to be higher than that.
It's the standards, isn't it? It's the standards.
Yeah, we know he's a good player. So, do we back him in? Do we back him in and go, does he do the job on one of their forwards? They've got a few keys, so we'll have to wait and see. Who's your sub?
So my sub.
Oh, Jesus.
Corey Durden.
Okay, I thought you were about to pull out the Mitch McGovern as the sub. Well, to be honest, if you had a forward go down, he'd play our forward. Well, he'd actually be a decent sub.
Yeah. I'm going with Corey Durden. Now I'm like, I don't really like the small forward as a sub. So if anything, the only changes I would make potentially is Ashton Moyer playing as a sub and then Corey Durden coming in to the side. But I mean, Corey Durden hasn't had the VFL matchup yet. Like Ashton Moyer has. Yes, he played the scratch match, Corey Durden, but I just think Corey Durdin playing as a sub, and I think he can. He's not one of those small forwards that just comes on and just, I don't know, like doesn't really have any impact. He's got the speed, and he can
Yeah,
also
yeah,
go higher up the ground.
yeah.
So I think,
I just really want him to have a good patch of footy. He
yeah,
has it in him. Like I feel like that's what
I
you're thinking
know.
as well. Like he just has it in him. I feel like it.
Mm. Because even like 2022, like he was that
Mm,
small forward alongside Owies and Motlop.
mm,
Yeah, I miss seeing that. I don't know.
mm.
It's not the CUNT, but it's just that
No.
like when he kicks a goal, celebrate, mate. Like get into the opponent.
Yeah,
Like I don't
yeah.
think he has the capability to do that, and I don't think that's his type of game
Mm,
style. But when he kick a goal, buddy, like celebrate,
mm,
mate. Like
mm.
yeah, like I look back to when he kicked that goal against Brisbane at the end of 2022 when he kicked that freakish goal. Like small things like that, it just creates something from the
Yeah, yeah,
boundary.
yeah.
It just creates something. So I really would like to see Corey Dern play um, a, a long patch of football in the seniors. But Daff, let's now move on to the opposition watch. For the viewers who don't know what this is, we go through for the back line, midfield, and forward line for the Collingwood Magpies, and we touch on one player for each line and kind of explain why they could be a threat to come Thursday night. But Daff, your backline opposition watch for the Pies, who have you got?
Uh, you just know who I'm gonna say, aren't you? You just know it. It's gonna be my. They got a good defense.
Very good.
Oh,
Nah, they do.
mm. No, I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna let me inner thoughts get to my brain. But yeah, no, the back. I'm just gonna be all just clear as day today during this episode. Nothing that's gonna bite me in the ass. Yeah, D Houston is my opposition
Oh,
watch in defence,
God.
and I'm still in support of the decision not to opt. I know we're trying to win premierships now, but we all spoke about it. We both spoke about it in the off season. We have the half back. We have the half backs, but now you look at it and you go, "Oh shit!" But Newman, we didn't know Newman was going to be out for the whole year.
Exactly right.
Like people, it's so it does my head in.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like, and then you go, "Oh, but why do we get Jagger Smith?" I'll tell you right now, I can guarantee you, he will be double the fucking player he is. Double.
Yeah.
We got him for 12, 13 years. He'll have a year off injury wise. He'll be bigger than all of his draftees next year. He'll put on 5, 10 kilos. He'll be in the gym all year. He'll be in the gym all year. Like Rory Sloane said, I know this is not the opposition watch, but it just frustrates me and it irks me like we didn't just pick up a top echelon fucking midfielder in the draft. Like it. Imagine if we were winning. No one would be speaking about it. Well, that's what frustrates me as well. It's like they just question everything.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
the guys on the ground should be winning these games of football, whether we like it or not. But on to Houston, yeah, he's solid. I think we've got to find a way to make ourselves accountable on him. I think we've got to have someone that's doing the job. I know I've dropped Cottrell, but if he is playing, I think that's a job he's got to do. Run with him all day. You know, whether Houston's pushing up the ground, doesn't matter where he is, you've got to find him. And I think if we find instances in the game where Houston does not have an opponent when they have ball in hand and he's 60, 70 from goal, I'll be extremely worried if that happens on a lot of occasions. And we know Carlton have the ability to forget about a damaging halfback or a damaging winger at times. Davidson was one on the weekend. How many fucking times?
Yeah.
How many fucking times was he on his own? Seriously. He's not hard to spot, that bloke. He's the blondest of blonde hair. Like, seriously, at 31 in his third game, Patto. When are we going to have a third gamer that wasn't a top 10 pick have 31? Never. And we let him do it. He played well, but we let him do it. But yeah, just we've got to be accountable in Houston. If he has 30 and those 30 and most of them are, cheap, got space, we're in trouble.
Yep, completely agree. I really wanted to go down to Houston, but I mean, obviously he's my massive watch, but another
Yeah.
watch that I probably will say I'm going between either Darcy Moore or Josh Dacos, and I'll probably go Josh Dacos actually. I think we
Mm,
always touch on Darcy Moore when we play the Pies. And a quick one about Darcy Moore. I know he's not my opposition watch, but Do you see Lewis Young going to more, or would you rather have him in the back line?
Yeah, no, I'd rather Darcy Moore just have the one-on-one on Charlie. I
Okay.
think he's had the wood over him every
Yep.
single time he's played. I think Darcy Moore, I know I said I wasn't going to get something that's going to bite me in the ass, but I think he's half the player he was in the premiership year. He just doesn't seem to have the same impact. And I know we're going to laugh about it. And good on him if he has a great game. Like, good
Yeah.
on him. He's
Exactly.
still a solid player. But I
Yes.
feel like I just want Charlie to have that one-on-one with him. I think he's had the absolute wood over him the last few years. And the way Charlie played on the weekend, especially in that first, half, 3 quarters, I thought he played really well. So with Harry in the side, they can't just have all the focus on Charlie and double team him. They're going to have Darcy Moore one-on-one. And I like Lewis Young in defence. With your point exactly, Mason Cox.
Yeah. So if you think Darcy Moore goes to Charlie Curnow, who do you think
Mm.
plays on Harry Mackay?
What I
If
mean with their defence, man.
Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously, Reef McInnes got injured against the
Yeah,
Dogs,
yeah.
so quite unfortunate. And I think he re signed, so it's quite good on him. I mean, I know
Yeah, that's
he's
good.
not a good player,
Yeah.
but it's good to see that. A player, and you might, I actually, if there are any Collingwood supporters out there that are watching this, I would actually like to hear your opinion on this because I don't think there's really anyone else, and it's Billy Frampton.
Ramp. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yep.
So, like, maybe you do play Jeremy Howe as that other key tall, but fuck me. If it's Jeremy Howe against Harry Mackay,
Yeah.
like good goalie, I
Has
think
to
we
be
could.
has to be Frampton, doesn't
I
it?
think it has to be, doesn't it?
Mm,
Unless there's
mm.
like, I don't think there's really anyone else in that
No.
in that sort of bracket as key
Mm.
defender who can take Harry Mackay. Like it's not like he's. And also, there's Brady Kemp down there, so Brady Kemp can probably
Yeah.
kick 5 goals
Yeah.
because I mean maybe Moore can take like a Mackay and maybe Howe can take a Kerno. I don't know, but
Mm.
who else can take Kemp?
Mm.
Like it's just
Mm.
yeah. So I think I think their side is very good when I actually look at it. But
Yeah.
like if we bring in Harry, if we can bring in Harry Mackay this week,
Mm.
they have to be like they have to consider bringing in Frampton, and I don't think they
Mm.
really want to do that because if it's Frampton against Harry Mackay, yeah, that could get
Well,
ugly.
yeah, I feel like every time we've been playing Collingwood the last few years, Frampton's always in the side. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, that I think they have to bring him in. I guess a Maynard can play on a Kemp as well. I think he can play above his height. Like Kemp's not a huge guy,
oh, he's pretty
so
tall.
he's tall, but he's not like I think Maynard could probably take him.
Yeah,
A
yeah, yeah,
Maynard or a
yeah.
Howe. But yeah, like I said, with their defense, they got good names in their defense, but come on,
Yeah,
fucking
completely
come
agree.
on.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. But yeah. So my opposition watch is Josh Dacos since he's moved to the halfback flank, pretty much playing in the exact same role as his brother was a few years ago. But I think he is quite a threat. And I think his ball use is probably one of the best, if not maybe Dan Houston
yep.
in that side. But I think Josh Dacos is going to be my opposition watch in the back line for the Pies. Daff midfield opposition watch for the Pies. They have a certain name returning who obviously played against the Dogs, Jordan Ngoe, who is back. But who have you got as a midfield opposition watch?
Yeah. Um, yeah, you look at their mitts, side bottom, Pendlebury, Dacos, Crisp, always kills us. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with the name you just said. I'm gonna take your homework, Patto, and Jordan De Goey, he's the one. I think he's the one that turns them into a premiership contending side. I think if he doesn't play, they don't win the premiership.
Yep.
And I think he has had struggles keeping his body right. I think he's had some groin issues and that sort of. There's a weird name for it. I don't want to muck it up right now live while we film. But he's had some groin issues and some other soft tissue injuries. But yeah, he's the one. I think he's a goal kicking mid. That's where our mids need to start fucking get going. Like, come on. That's what good sides do. That's why we keep leaving out 4, 5, 6 goals on the park every week, Pato, because our mids don't kick goals. That's pretty much all it is. We had, our key forwards on the weekend combined for 10. If the rest just combined for a 6 or 5 or 6, you're probably going on to win the game. So a goal like that can break open a game. I wonder who goes to him. You can play half forward sometimes. He plays in the mid. So yeah, that's going to be a very interesting watch to see what we do with him.
Yeah, well, I think probably a Hewitt does go straight to go and kind of have that as a matchup. And I don't know what they'll kind of do with our midfield of Cripps, Walsh, Chera.
Yeah.
But my midfield opposition watch is very, very clear to me, and I'm very nervous about it. And it's Nick Dacos. I really
Yeah.
didn't want to be so vanilla about it, but I just think he is the one threat down there. In there, in the midfield that I am somewhat shitting the bed about. That Carlton love to do. In famous Carlton fashion, Daffy Boy. But yeah, I think Nick Dacos is one of, if not the best player in the competition. And if there's the conversation of who would you take if you were starting a brand new club between Sam Darcy and Nick Dacos, I think it shows how good Nick Dacos is. He's probably one of my favourite players, and it's a shame that he plays for the filth. But I love the way that he goes about it, and he is by far my big opposition watch. And I think we do have to put some work into him. Maybe we don't have Hewitt versus De Goey and put some work into Nick Dacos, but I don't know. I just think his ball use is so detrimental to their success. And as soon as he delivers it inside forward 50, him lowering the eyes, it's the one player that I would love to have at our club, because he can actually, like, his ball use inside forward 50 would be saying that that was something that we're really lacking, and I think he can do that. But what's your thoughts on kind of Dacos and his impact coming Thursday night, and how do you see us kind of mediating his impact on Thursday?
Yeah. I think George can tag a lot of guys, but I'd be very.
Not tag, or would you say tag?
No, I don't think he tags Dacos. I think Dacos would have him pace wise. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just put in whoever his direct opponent needs to just,
Watch him.
Yeah. Yeah, just beat whether it's Chera. I think Chera plays it. I think he's had it. Can I just say with Chera, I think he's had an absolutely fantastic start to the year.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's going under the radar just because the performance is fair enough. But guys like that can, play a bit of a defensive role. Not defensive, but just be accountable and then work off him as well. I think that's the big thing of kind of stopping a Dacos, where if his direct opponent's getting touches, he needs to start thinking about him. And then what happens that is he's putting more energy into off the ball stuff rather than on the ball stuff. So he's almost an impossible player to stop, but I think we just need to try and minimize his impact to some certain extent.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Daffy Boy, let's now move on to the forward line opposition watch for the Collingwood Footy Club. Who have you got? There are a few names, and as I said earlier, I think Myercheck is expected to return to the side, and I wouldn't be surprised if you go with a Tim Membry, because when we played against St Kilda, he was always our opposition watch for the forward line for them, but now he's playing for the filth. Probably has to be even more of an opposition watch. But your, I guess, threat in the forward line for the Pies, who have you got?
Yeah, I've got Tim Membry.
Yeah.
He gives me PTSD, Patto. I'd love to say, I need to look at it after this episode, but his average against Carlton would have to be over two and a half goals a game, I reckon. He always kicks, like, he'd be out for like weeks, and then he'd come in for Carlton, and he always takes those marks. Where, those, and he takes those marks. He doesn't really take those leading marks. He takes those ones where he's standing on the ground, and he just jumps straight up and always goes that two-handed pluck against us, and he always kills us. So, Tim Membry for mine. Just keep a goal like that to 1 goal, 0 goals. I don't want enough, because if they have impact across the board, I really worry about how we're going to contain that. And they've got those triple M's that they seem to be raving on about. M for mid, I'd imagine. It's a half decent forward line, but they talk up Dan McStay like he's a Coleman medalist. Like, they won the flag when he missed the whole year. So that kind of tells you all you need to know. But Membry for me.
Yep, completely agree. I'm not going to say Tim Membry, but there is another name in my mind. But before I throw to that, who do you think takes Membry? Because I don't think it will be a Wiedering, but maybe in your eyes, if he is so important as we know he can be, impactful as we know he obviously can be. And now in that forward line alongside McStay and potentially returning Myercheck, and also Mason Cox if he is playing with Myercheck returning, who do you think takes Membry?
I think, like what you said before, McStay, I think Wiedering would go to him. And I think Lewis Young to Mason Cox if Lewis Young is playing. But I'd imagine if Lewis Young is not playing, or he's playing up forward, I think Wiedering would go on Cox. It seems to be the same matchup every single year. Membry, I think you go Sauce. I think Membry's impact is always inside 50. I know he can take marks higher up the ground, but the way Silvani played on the weekend has convinced me that he is the second key.
100%.
I think he's the stay-at-home defender for mine. I know he can take the inset mark, but I think I'd rather let guys like McGovern and Haynes be the ones flying across and being the third, fourth, talls, whatever. So yeah, Membry for me on Silvani.
Okay. So Haynes, who would you have Haynes on?
I guess he could take a Maya check.
Yeah.
He can play a little bit smaller as well.
Smaller, yeah.
Could be McGovern as well if he's playing. He could
Yep.
take a Maya check. So when you look at it, you could play all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of all the same forward, aren't they?
They
Those
are.
triple M's. They're all the kind of. I think McStay is probably the bigger one that where they're going to go to. But yeah, well, time will tell. And Darcy Cameron has time up forward as well. With McStay going the ruck. So yeah, that'll be another interesting to watch to see how we switch and how we look at that.
Yeah. Completely agree. My opposition watch, and I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's quite clear, and it's Jamie Elliott. He always
Yeah.
scares me. And I know he probably hasn't had the greatest start to the year, Jamie Elliott.
Mm.
And I think there's people saying that he might be past his best, but I'm sure we can put him back into form, Daffy boy. Don't worry about that. So yeah, I think Jamie Elliott has to be. I mean, he obviously is my opposition watch, but Daff. Before we wrap up the episode, let's get into our match predictions. So, for the people who don't know what we do for the match predictions, we touch on a bagger of the game for only the Carlton players. So, that is quite self-explanatory. Player who's best on ground, a point of difference player, and also winner plus margin, Daffy boy. But your predictions for this Thursday night against the Filth, what would you say?
Yeah, I was thinking about it yesterday, and I'm going different with this bagger of the game and point of difference. It's a statement to every single player on the list. Okay, so you'll understand what that means after I say these two bagger of the game and point of difference. So, bagger of the game, TDK. Think he's our best player, and I think he can take Darcy Cameron. He does have that ability though, Cameron, to run around the ground. Really, I think if we didn't have TDK, I think Darcy Cameron would be a perfect ruckman at Carlton. And he was a target when he was at the Swans before we ended up getting Pitternet. And I did hear things if TDK doesn't re-sign, apparently we're looking at him, but I struggle to think he'd leave Collingwood. I struggle to think, but he would be ideal. But TDK's not leaving. Let's put it out there. My sources tell me, which is my brain, TDK is not leaving. Point of difference, TDK.
Wow.
Yep. Nah. They got to prove to me otherwise. These point of differences we keep pulling on, and they never provide a fucking point of difference. TDK is the point of difference for me. He's the point of difference ruckman every week. He's a different type of ruckman. They talk about Jerry and other guys like that. Great ruckman. He is the point. He is the fourth midfielder. He's a better midfielder than most of our midfielders. So but that's a statement from me that he is both of them this week. I trust him the most at the moment. And if other guys play their thing next week, they will have their spot in the in the light, Patto, in my predictions. So those are my two bagger of the game, a point of difference, and winner plus margin. Tom DeConning by 12 points. No, winner plus margin. I think we said it in the review. I'm not that delusional. I can back us in to win the game. I can believe. I don't trust them fully, but I think we can win this game, of course. But Pies had a bye, 14-day break. We've had a 6-day break, sore bodies. And they should be fine after 6 days, but I think the Pies will win by 10 points.
Close game against the Pies again. Fuck.
Surely if it gets to a close game, surely it comes to a time where we fucking take the game by the balls and go to Dacos and say, shove it up your ass, Nick. We've won this game of football. Surely. I want to see them walking off the ground sad. Seriously. How many times have they beaten us? Like even that game, I know Charlie kicked 6, but they were already locked in top spot.
Exactly right.
It was a great win, right, that night, but they already locked in top spot. They had a bad patch in that 2 weeks, 3 weeks because they were heading into finals. Round 4, early in the season, let's go. Come on. Come on. And if they win this game, they get a bit of my trust back because it's against the. I know it's only one game, but as a rivals, backs against the wall. Everyone doesn't think we'll win. And if they do that, I can really trust them to really pull it out in tough games, but they haven't done it yet, Patto, for me. That's the issue. But if they do it, surely there's some sort of, okay, reset, head into the weekend after.
You know what really frustrates me is how we always need to have our backs against the walls.
I
And we
know.
always have to make it so hard.
I know.
And we find a way to get the job done this week. It just, why can't we just for once in our lives see Carlton actually make it easy and be the front runners instead of being the guys from bloody like halfway back in a marathon and somehow win it? I just, I hate, and like, unfortunately, I completely agree with you, but I just hate how we think like this because we say, oh, yeah, if we get the job done, our season's back on track and we'll lose to West Coast by 25 points a week after. It'll be the exact same shit. It just annoys me so much.
Yep.
And we've had to deal with it for so many years. And unfortunately, I do completely agree with you. But yeah, so my bag of the game, it's been in a bit of an interesting one. I know that I've said Sam Walsh the past few weeks, but I'm going to go with Patrick Cripps. Yep. He loves playing against the Pies, and I think we need him to. I mean, we don't need him to stand up, but I feel like to win the game, unfortunately, he still needs to play at his best, which annoys me. But I think Patrick Cripps, if we are to win the game, he needs to be the bagger of the game. Point of difference, going to go with Jack Silvani.
Yeah, like it.
He is so good in the back line. He's played 2 games there.
He looked good.
Pretty much,
he looked good, didn't he?
Pretty much 1.5 games, actually.
Yeah.
He played probably half the Tigers game in their forward line. So, yeah, very excited about seeing how he goes and how he evolves as the second key back alongside Wiedering. So, Jack Silvani has my point of difference. Winner plus margin, Collingwood by 34 points. I don't think I can handle another close game against Collingwood. I'm not saying I would rather a blowout.
Oh, yeah.
But I just feel like it will probably be quite tight. And then the last quarter, I just think Collingwood will probably run over the top of us. I don't want to enter the delusion thoughts of, Carlton could win by 5 points. But even if we can beat this side by 50 points, mate.
We can win this game.
Without a doubt.
Based on our predictions, we got to let go of that.
Yeah.
That little bit, like myself included, my tipping is horrendous because I always just think we're going to pull it out. I tipped the Dogs all week on my tipping. 10 minutes from the bounce, I changed it. I did the same thing against the Hawks. But they were 2 winnable games. I believed in the team to win those games. So, yeah, it's frustrating, Patto.
That literally sums up a Carlton supporter. Because I did the exact same thing. I'm like, I would feel like, I can see the players coming out. I'd be like, I can see Jack Silvani in the back line. Lewis Young training with the forwards. I'll be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to change the tip. And Carlton's going to win.
Yeah.
And get to the end of the game, and I'm like, why did I choose Carlton? Why, when I was 3 years old and my dad was a Carlton supporter, why did I choose to go for the Navy Blues? But we wouldn't have it any other way, Duffy Boy, unfortunately. I probably should have chosen bloody Tassie 25 years ago, Duffy Boy. But, I just think we are so far past delusion, unfortunately, and now we're actually tipping the filth against Carlton. But, frustrating. But we've gotten through the preview for the Pies. Probably one of our tougher previews, actually. I just think it's hard to get up and about for a game, and probably if it was anyone else, we probably wouldn't be as up and about. But it is Collingwood, and I feel like most other previews would be a hell of a lot more up and about than what we are. But I hope not even I hope we play well. Just fucking get the win. Get your season started by betting the Pies, heading into West Coast next week, and losing against West Coast to make it 1-4. But that's all right, Duffy Boy. But before we wrap up the episode, Duffy Boy, is there anything else you would like to touch on?
Yeah. One big thing, and it's in terms of the supporter base. I'm not like we've all fed up, right? We're all pissed off. Clearly, if you watch the review, both of us were pissed off, and I'm still pissed off. But there's a stage where there's a line I've seen crossed too many times in the last few weeks in terms of the supporter base on social media, on just any sort of media platform, and it's this personal attacking players like. We were up 4 goals on the weekend, Patto, and I'm hearing moans in the crowd. I'm hearing moans we're 4 goals up against the Dogs, and we make one mistake that every team makes, and I get it. We've had years and years of this. We're up 4 goals, and I feel like we're not like the crowd is not in a winning position, and I know the trust is not there. But this weekend, they need it more than ever. I'm serious. I am serious because if we go 2 goals down, watch their crowd. They'll be wanting to kill the prey, which is Carlton right now. And I know the moans. I moan sometimes with the football when there's moments. But if we're up against Collingwood, I want to hear this. I want to hear we're getting the job done tonight. Urge them on. If they make a mistake, come on. If Haynes gets the ball, don't Bronx cheer or like I heard with Essendon Bronx cheering Ben Mackay. I get it. He hasn't been playing at ability, but do not have a go at your own all the time. You can talk about performance. The performance have been shit. I agree. But when the new game, it's a new week, Patto. Don't worry about the last 3 weeks when the bounce comes on. I know we've got that pre-existing and PSD and the pre-existing thoughts of what happened the weeks before. But like I said, the motto for me this year is week by week. Let's rock up to the chair. If we kick the first goal, let's get around it. If they make a mistake, let's get around them. Don't be going, we're fucked. Like it's the second quarter of a game. Game's never done. Look at Collingwood. How many times they come back from the dead because their crowd urges them on. They're 4 goals down, Patto, and they kick a goal, and the crowd goes off like they've just hit the lead. Imagine the opposition crowd. When they came back against us that time, we were 5 goals up. They kicked 1 goal and they think they're going to win. We're 4 goals up and we think we're going to lose. And I know it's a whole different mindset. I'm not having a go at people here. But let's come on. Just be there and be fucking vocal in a positive fucking way.
Yeah, I think the mindset is completely different because obviously the supporters have seen their like Collingwood supporters have seen their side actually do it and find the trust when we just haven't.
I get it. Yeah.
So I completely agree. I mean, I have people around me that would say, and I would just be like, what are you doing? Like, we're literally up and about. We're playing quite well, and what we make one mistake, and people like you. I mean, you're probably allowed to support however way you want. But,
Absolutely.
I mean, I just know I would never do that.
No.
But no, I completely agree. But I just think it unfortunately is a thing where Collingwood supporters have, and the Cats are the exact same. They enter games calm. So because they know what they're going to expect when we're just always walking in very fidgety, being like, we're not sure what we're going to expect, which is the problem. Yeah. And yes, we can kick. Even if we're up by 20 points at halftime, it's not about that. It's the second half, winning the game, not winning the first half. We're not a first half team. If we were the first half team, we would have had 200 premierships by now.
Yeah.
But it's 4 quarters instead of 2 quarters. And that's the problem. And that's why come halftime, hopefully we're still in the game, if not in front, but run out the game. But it's all good. Michael Voss thinks that we run out the games in the fourth quarter, but definitely boy. But well said to you for the last comment, and to every single blue bagger out there. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, whether it's a subscribe or a comment or a like. We do like to hear from you. So if you do have any thoughts, make sure to comment below. And also check out our podcast platforms on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. There's a few others out there, Daft Boy. And our social platforms, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, please support us in the channel. But to you, Duffy Boy, and to every single blue bagger out there.
Yeah,
the
the
baggers.
baggers.